Welcome inside East Gymnasium, everyone, as we're getting set for the start of the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Championship Final, as it's going to be the North Bergen Bruins taking on our Fort Lee Bridgmen, and I'm joined by a special guest courtside here is head coach Adam Schrager of Fort Lee. And Coach, just talking about things before leading up to today's championship final. Your team had two hard-fought victories against Passaic and then Memorial. How do you feel like those games got you prepared to then take on another very good defensive team here tonight in North Bergen?
Well, I think all those opportunities provide you a way to kind of self-evaluate where you are. Obviously, we're trying to measure ourselves not where we are now, but where we might be in 2, 3, 4 weeks. So all of it's a great opportunity just to continue to get better. Our hands will be completely full tonight with a very good North Bergen team.
Last year's experience of playing against Kennedy, another very good, athletic, tall team. Does that experience help pay off for some of these seniors, Isaiah Stang, for Bem Ogadegbe, and the others, that they have that big game experience and now know, hey, this is what it's going to take? You were right there with Kennedy all of last year in the championship final. Does that experience, you hope, pay off here tonight?
Well, I think the good part is for us, Isaiah, Bem, Devin, they've logged a lot of minutes. Isaiah, Bem, 3-year starters. Devin's been on varsity since he was a freshman. So they kind of understand the task at hand. We'll have to see how some of our newer players handle the task of trying to match up with some of the bigger guys North Bergen has. But for us, again, it's just an opportunity to prepare ourselves for league play where we'll see Dumont with some bigger players. So we'll take the challenge tonight, and we're going to try to keep the game close and see where we are in the fourth quarter.
And finally, Coach, statistically speaking, these are the two best defensive teams that we've seen now throughout the course of this tournament, and defense always leads to championships. How can you defensively, as you mentioned, go against such a tall front line for North Bergen and hope that your defense then leads to how you can dictate on offense?
Well, I told the guys the first thing is we got to box out. Can't give them second, third opportunities. That always leads to problems. I think the other concern for us is their pressure defense leading to maybe turnovers and easy baskets at the other end. So for us, we got to limit our turnovers and try to defend them in the half court. We're going to have to use some man, some zone, show them different looks to try to keep them off balance. I think that's going to be the key for us. Hey, before I leave, I do want to give a shout out to girls basketball program for winning their tournament, and Fernanda Lewis scoring over 1,000 points. So that's a great achievement. We don't want to let that go unrecognized. So a shout out to the girls program.
Absolutely, and we even had Kelly Lane on. You're the second coach that I've been able to interview today, and she did a great job, as you just did as well, Coach. And thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck in this championship final tonight.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you being here.
So that was head coach Adam Schrager for Fort Lee, leading up to the start of tonight's championship rounds, as it's going to be Fort Lee taking on North Bergen. All that action is going to be coming up in a matter of moments, as you see on the countdown clock. 13 minutes and counting left to go before we get to the championship finals. You're watching the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Championship Final here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. competition among players. Spectators can help promote good sportsmanship by observing the rules of fair play. Any verbal, written, or physical conduct related to race, gender, ethnicity, disability, sexual orientation, or religion shall not be tolerated and could subject the violator to ejection and may result in penalties being assessed against your team. Each one is requested to take personal responsibility for keeping this competition at a high level of good sportsmanship. A reminder to all fans that if you're looking for any food, snacks, water, or soda, you can buy those items at the main entrance in this gymnasium where you first entered. Bathrooms are located to the right side of each gym on the side opposite of the scores table. Today's game and every game of this 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament are being broadcast for free, live and on demand on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. So please spread the word to family and friends and search Fort Lee Athletics on YouTube to watch this game live or on demand at any time. Good evening and welcome to the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Championship Final featuring the North Bergen Bruins and your Fort Lee Richmond. Now let's meet the starting lineups for both teams. First, for North Bergen. Number 1, Elijah Duho. Number 3, Cesar Perez. Number 5, Jake Still. Number 15, Sean Orphis. And number 23, Jonathan Jones. The head coach for North Bergen is Kevin Bianco. And now, the starting lineup for Fort Lee. Number 4, Daniel Park. Number 10, Devin Chang. Number 12, Kamani Clark. Number 25, Isaiah Stang. And number 31, Them Ogadekbi. The head coach of Richmond is Adam Schrader. Now at this time, we ask that all patrons please rise and gentlemen remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. Good evening, everyone, and welcome here inside East Gymnasium at Fort Lee, the setting for our 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Championship Final, featuring the Bruins of North Bergen High School, 6-1 on the season, and the Bridgemen of Fort Lee, 5-1 so far this year. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Long. So glad that you could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel for this championship showdown. Joined alongside by Dimitri Nanis, our producer, and Jordan Sarnoff manning the camera here inside East Gym. Fort Lee advanced to the finals after defeating Passaic 59-49 in the quarterfinals, and then defeated Memorial 50-42 in the semis. North Bergen punched their ticket to the championship round after defeating Clifton 57-47 in the quarterfinals and Riverdale in the semis. Fort Lee in the home white, they won the opening tip, and that's going to bump foul against Sean Orphis, the leading scorer in this tournament for North Bergen, and he picks up a quick foul. Fort Lee would love to get number 15 in foul difficulty. Now Isaiah Stang on the far baseline. Adam Schrager, the head coach for Fort Lee in his 5th season. North Bergen led by Kevin Bianco. Park getting the start. He was very effective off the bench in the last game. Isaiah Stang, the up and under move. And Stang opens up the scoring here tonight for Fort Lee. 2-0 lead for the Bridgemen. Isaiah Stang was held in check by Memorial. 10 points for Stang after Stang erupted for 25 in the first game of the tournament against Passaic. North Bergen in their red and gold, defending in the white, orange, and black. Fort Lee. Tip and attempt after the initial miss. No good. Caroms out into the corner. And possession will stay here with North Bergen. North Bergen's defense has held 5 of their 7 opponents this season to 50 points or fewer in a game. Most they've allowed, 57. It's been the calling card for both these teams early on with their success this year. They've been locked down defensively. That's a high rainbow three, drained on the far side by Jonathan Jones. Jones really hasn't gotten into the scoring column so far in this tournament. Been more as a defensive stalwart this season here in this tournament. Park weaving his way, overshoots the rim, rebounded inside, and that's going to be a reach-in foul against Park for Fort Lee. That'll pick up his first. That'll be the team's first, so 1 foul apiece for both teams. Jonathan Jones came into this tournament as the leading scorer on the season for North Bergen, but was held scoreless in the first 2 games. Nice pin down underneath for Orphis, and Orphis will get the and 1. And will that be another foul against Park? And if so, Daniel Park will have picked up 2 fouls in less than 20 seconds. And Orphis gets on the board. That's going to be a 5-0 run now for North Bergen, and a chance at a 3-point play. That will be the second foul against Daniel Park. So Park started this game but picked up 2 very quick fouls. That'll bring on Isaiah Valdez, who normally has been the starter. Orphis continues his stellar play in this tournament. 23 points in his opening game against Clifton, 18 points last game against Riverdale. He has 3 quick points here after that 3-point play. 6-0 run for North Bergen. They lead 6-2. Nice crowd assembled here for this championship final. Here's Devin Jang. Jang caught fire in the last game. Knocked down 4 3-pointers in the second quarter alone. Jang looking for an outlet, gets it to Ogadegby. No, excuse me, it's Stang across the middle. Stang hangs in the air, and Isaiah Stang with 4 points. He's got all 4 of Fort Lee's points in the early goings. 6-4 lead. There's a pull-up 3, knocked down by Elijah Dupo. Dupo connected on 22 points in the win against Riverdale. He and Orphis have been the dynamic duo for the Bruins. Already North Bergen quickly with 9 points. Ogadegby, fall back, jumper, left short. Clark with the offensive rebound. Now lets it up top to Bem Ogadegby. He led the charge, 17 points, and was nearly flawless at the foul line in the win against Memorial. Nice reverse layup underneath the rim there by Kamani Clark. Clark is growing in confidence. First year as a starter here on Varsity. Clark, a junior, now with 2 points in the game. 9-6 lead. 3 minutes gone by here in the championship first quarter. Pick and roll, and Perez easily gets to the rim. North Bergen is starting to carve up this Fort Lee defense. Fort Lee's defense have been solid so far in this tournament as well. They have held 4 of their 6 opponents to 50 points or less on the season. Ogadegbe putting a shoulder into the defender and did not get called for the offensive foul, but does get called for the travel. 11-6 lead now for North Bergen, 4:37 left to go in our first quarter of play. Kevin Bianco's Bruins allowing only 44 points per game throughout this tournament. Orphis over to the near side, outlets it over to the far side to Still. Still rotating it around. Here's another long-range three and another knockdown by Dupo. He is scorching the nets, 2 for 2 from three-point range, and North Bergen putting up 14 as we reach the midway point to the first quarter. Valdez trying to put his shoulder down, up top to Stang. Stang now matched up with Dupo. Stang with the killer crossover and a 5-second call against Isaiah Stang. Kind of lost track of where he was. That is unbelievable on-ball defense here by North Bergen. That's been the story in this tournament. That is why North Bergen has been successful and has raced out to a 6-1 start on the season. Their lockdown defense, and now that's leading to more opportunities for their offense. Dupo outletting it to Jones. Jones underneath, swiped away by Clark as they're trying to feed Still on the far side block. North Bergen is connected on 3 3-pointers already here in the first quarter. Here's Devin Jang kicking it out. Valdez curling around, trying to bring Jones down to the block with him. Dupo guarding Jang closely. Rotating it up top. Here's a wide open 3 for Isaiah Stang. What a start to this game for the leading scorer for the Bridgemen. He's up to 7 points in the quarter. He's got 7 of Fort Lee's 9. 14-9 now the lead here for North Bergen. Jones. Perez on the far baseline. Quick entry into Orphis. Orphis leans inside, missing it. It's got to be a rebound by Committee, and Valdez brings it down. Here comes Devin Jang trying to push the pace down on the other side of the floor. Ogadegbe with the lefty dribble. Bodied up inside, that's a triple team, and that's going to be another turnover and a travel once again against Ogadegbe, a little out of control. 2:32 remaining in this first quarter. North Bergen on top of Fort Lee, 14-9. Last season, Fort Lee were runners-up in the championship final to Patterson Kennedy. 48-37 loss in that game. Orphis, hard degree of difficulty shot, fouled it up and tried to lay it up and in. He draws the contact inside. And that's what Coach Schrager was talking about in our pregame leading up to the start of today's contest. He has to keep on willing his team to keep North Bergen off the boards. They're a much taller team. They're a much bigger team. Led by this man, Sean Orphis. Orphis now with 4 points in the game. Might be in line for being the player of the tournament if North Bergen goes on to win. He has been that good and that much of a difference maker. Orphis shows off that silky smooth touch at the foul line. 16-9, the lead now for North Bergen. A season ago, North Bergen went 12-13 overall. They made it to the quarterfinals of North 1 Group 4. They defeated Bloomfield in the first round before being eliminated by Patterson Eastside. Trying to go 3-0 here at Fort Lee. Ogadegbe's layup will not count. That's going to be an offensive foul. Aggressively, Ogadegbe tried to take it coast to coast, and great help defense there underneath the rim. And the Bruins defense, once again, leading to opportunities to control this game. 16-9 as we come up on 2 minutes left to go in this first quarter. 4 team fouls against Fort Lee. Only 1 foul committed so far by the Bruins of North Bergen. Cross-court pass. Dupo setting and firing again. First time he's missed from 3. Ogadegbe with the rebound. He always looks to push the pace. Here's Stang. Stang with 7 points. Giving it over to Ogadegbe. Ogadegbe's one Achilles heel this season has been his propensity to pick up fouls in bunches. He's got to play smart now after he picked up that offensive foul a couple of moments ago. Ogadegbe to the near side wing. Up top to Clark. Here's Devin Jang from distance. Jang connects from downtown. A dead-eye shooter, Devin Jang, the junior. 5 3-pointers made now in the last 2 games. He's got 6 total threes in the tournament. He could be huge if he gets on fire to extend that offense and really capitalize against the defense against him. Cross-court pass again. Perez near side corner in front of us. Splash! Will they count the basket? It looks like it might be. The basket will count and maybe a foul underneath as well. Fourth made 3 of the first quarter for North Bergen. Where did this shooting come from for the Bruins? A team that really struggled for points against Clifton, now knocking down the threes. The three-pointer counts 19-12, 19 points, the most points that Fort Lee has given up in a quarter since giving up 19 in the first quarter against Passaic in their first round of the tournament. Give and go on the back door. Stang, extra pass. Here's a corner. 3, answered. Red hot shooting between these two sides. Isaiah Valdez from deep. This is breaking the trends of what I've mentioned throughout the course of this tournament. We have seen very slow and sluggish starts in first quarters of tournament play. These two teams erupting. 19-15 now. North Bergen taking a little air out of the ball, saving this one for one final possession of the quarter. Give and go inside, miscommunication. Valdez with the interception. One final chance at getting to the hoop now for Fort Lee. Pull up from deep, off the back iron, no good. Isaiah Stang leading Fort Lee with 7 points. Fort Lee's hot shooting starting to pile on there after North Bergen cruised to an early lead. The lead is 4 after 8 minutes of play. Stick around us, we'll be back for the start of the second quarter as you're watching all the action of the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament here on Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. North Bergen leading 19-15 after the first quarter of play. Elijah Dupo connecting on a pair of threes. He leads North Bergen with 6 points. Cesar Perez with 5 points. Sean Orphis with 5 points as well. And Jonathan Jones opened up the game with the opening 3. Fort Lee being led by Isaiah Stang, 7 points. Devin Jang with 3. Isaiah Valdez with 3. And Kamani Clark with 2. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, Jordan Sarnoff, glad you could join us here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Championship final here of 2022. Still tries to put it up after that putback attempt, after the initial shot was off the mark, and he still was a little surprised as well that he got the benefit of that call. 5th team foul against Fort Lee. Just 10 seconds gone by here in the second quarter. Still has not had the greatest form in the world when it comes to foul shooting in this tournament. He has missed badly on a couple of occasions. That time, using a little bit of the glass to help him out. Goes 1 of 2 at the line. His first point of the night, 20-15 lead now for North Bergen. Handoff from Clark to Ogadegbe. Watch with Orphis on him. Both players with 1 foul apiece. Valdez spinning his way inside, did a little bit of a bunny hop, and that's going to lead to a travel. Well-intentioned by Valdez, but kind of lost his footing of where he was and then took that extra bounce to try to get to a little closer to the rim. 5-point lead for the Bruins. Dupo outletted over to Still. Back up top to Dupo. Dupo knocked down 2 3-pointers in the first quarter. Bodied up on the near side, and that's going to be a travel against Dupo. So good recovery defense there by the Bridgemen. Wortley forces the turnover. They'll get the ball back to their offense. Perez extending his defense a little bit to make it a little tougher for Ogadegbe. Here's Isaiah Stang right in front of the North Bergen sideline. Stang picking up the dribble, getting it over to Ogadegbe now. Ogadegbe isolates, gets it back up to Stang, cross-court pass. Trying to find Valdez across the lane. Valdez hook shot no good. Clark pinballing it around. Eventually it finds its way into the hands of Sean Orphis. Defense trying to take over this game for both sides. Only 1 combined point so far in the second quarter. Good job of fronting the passer. And the postman there by Clark. That leads to the turnover. They were trying to deposit it down low to Orphis. Valdez handing it off for Ogadegbe. Splits the double team. Ball was knocked away. A reach-in foul, though, it looks like against North Bergen. That'll be the 3rd team foul for the Bruins, with the clock stopped with 5:50 left to go in the first half. Last game, Fort Lee knocked down 6 3-pointers against Memorial, all of which came in the first half. Devin Jang. One-on-one with Still. Try to go behind his back again. That's not his game. Jang can exploit that matchup against Still. He gets in trouble when he tries to do a little too much with the basketball. Ogadegbe trying to go to his strong left hand, but missed it trying to go too high. Breaking out, here's Aiden Rivera. The freshman getting into trouble, and the freshman will turn it over as that goes out of bounds with 5:28 left to go. North Bergen's only loss this year came against Bayonne at home, 57-49 on December 20th. They've won 6 of their first 7 games on the year. These teams have combined 11-2 on the season. Ogadegbe getting it up top to Jang. Jang trying to get that defender to fly by him, leans in. The shot will fall, but it'll be wiped off because of a travel. That's what North Bergen does. They make you run a little faster than maybe you want to operate a play. Jang thought that he kept his pivot foot and was leaning in for the floater, but instead was called for the violation. Again, we are only at 1 point scored between these two sides, and we're more than 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Another high arcing 3, and this time another rebound secured by Clark. Dupo nearly picked it off. Fort Lee benefiting from Valdez to save the day. Jang again momentarily thought about the 3, step back jumper for Jang, and then he gets that one to fall. Got all the rim, and now Devin Jang with 5 points in this game. 20-17 now the lead for North Bergen. Perez, elbow jumper is good. Cesar Perez, 7 points. Leading scorer in the game now for North Bergen. Ogadegbe trying to take him off the dribble. Giving it to Isaiah Stang. Stang across the lane into the corner. Valdez will outlet it to Stang. Stang, step back three, near side, overshot the rim. Rebounded though, Ogadegbe now from the far side wing. First points of the game for Bem Ogadegbe. Fortuitous bounce there on that possession for Fort Lee. Back to a 2-point lead now for North Bergen. As Fort Lee has clawed their way back in this half. That long-range three, no good. Isaiah Stang with the rebound. Stang pushing the pace, still on his back pocket. Fight for the loose ball. Aiden Rivera will dive on top of it. And will he be granted a timeout? It looks like it will be for North Bergen. Timeout to save possession. 3:18 remaining here in the second quarter. And North Bergen on top of Fort Lee by a score of 22-20. Big news earlier today as we saw some fancy new hardware making its way back inside the hallway here at East Gymnasium as the Fort Lee varsity girls basketball team won the J. Mahoney Jam Fest with a 62-42 victory against Hackensack High School at Pagoda. Earlier this morning, Janelle Lewis also eclipsed the 1,000-point scoring plateau. So congratulations to Janelle as well as to the Fort Lee girls team for again capturing the team championship hardware at Pagoda High School's holiday tournament. Fort Lee boys team trying to do the same and win their holiday tournament here as part of the 2022 Jack Reilly holiday events. Runners up a season ago. It was all North Bergen early on, but as this game has progressed, Fort Lee has fought back valiantly. Orphis high-low, and if that pass gets in there, it's not coming back out. Sean Orphis now with 7 points in the game. Back to a 4-point lead for North Bergen. Ogadegbe weaves his way down the lane, missed it, but Kamani Clark cleans up inside. Nobody boxing out number 12. He's had a very good first half on both sides of the floor. 4 points for the junior. 24-22, coming up on 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Two best defensive teams all tournament long playing like it here. And a high scoring first quarter, not so much here in the second. Orphis again trying to bully his way to the rim and does. 9 points now for the senior. 26-22. Jang. Out to Stang for three. No good. That time Orphis cleaning up the boards himself. Here's Aiden Rivera. Dupo trying to cut across the middle of the lane. He gets fouled on the pass after he was trying to get it outside to a wide open Jake Still in the near side corner. That'll be the 16th foul against Fort Lee. Next foul would mean foul shots the rest of the half for North Bergen with 2:01 left to go in the second quarter. Here's Dupo. Has not scored here in the second. Getting it back from Orphis. Game of catch between the two top players for the Bruins. That three goes in and out. Fight for the loose ball, taken in by Ogadegbe. He leads the charge the other way. Euro steps into the corner. Devin Jang, open three. No good off the back rim, but he secures the long rebound out to himself. Crosses over, Jang going hard to the rim, and one! Devin Jang now up to 7 points, and a chance to make it 8 points in the half with a three-point play. 1:32 left to go in what has been a well-played first half between both teams. Jang completes the three-point play. Jang building off that 12-point barrage he had in the last game. He's got 8 already here in the first half. 26-25, North Bergen's lead is trimmed down to a lone point. Lead is 1. Still, as North Bergen patiently operates on offense. Coming up on the final minute of the first half. Orphis getting on the baseline. Park trying to defend. Got in front of that shot by Perez. Last touch out of bounds off a still. Great positional defense that time, but Daniel Park just came back into the game after he only played less than a minute in that first quarter before picking up 2 quick fouls. Now a chance for Fort Lee to take the lead just before halftime. Clark in the high post. Handing it off for Jang. Jang makes that defender fly by him. Here goes Stang across the middle. And that's going to be a foul on the floor before the shot attempt. 15 foul upcoming for North Bergen. So they still have another foul to give as well before it be potential foul shots for the Bridgemen. 46.8 seconds left to go. Ogadegbe will trigger the restart. Inside to Park. Park picking up his dribble. He's in trouble. Ball's loose on the deck. It's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow will favor Fort Lee. So it'll stay here on offense with 41.3 seconds left to go. Richmond coming off a season last year where they finished 18-9, made it to the first round of the North 1 Group 3 sectional playoffs. Won a game in the Bergen County Jamboree County Tournament for the first time in years, and also won their league championship. Trying to build off that with a win here tonight that would give them a holiday tournament championship as well as a 6-1 start to the year. Here's Devin Jang. Jang had a season-high 26 points in a win against Tenafly. Here's Isaiah Stang, outlets it over to Park. Park getting it back up top to Ogadegbe. Looks like Fort Lee might be playing for one final possession of the first half. Here's Stang across the middle. As soon as I say that, aggressively attacks towards the rim, and he'll be rewarded for that aggressive move and heads to the foul line to shoot 2. 20.2 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And Fort Lee, who's been trailing for the majority of this game, now in a position to tie and even take the lead. But Stang is too strong in that first foul shot. Isaiah's missed his foul shots and lost his foul shooting touch in the last couple of games. Normally he's so effective as a foul shooter. Got most of the rim that time and got it to fall. First point of the second quarter for Stang. He's up to 8. 26-26. Coming up on the final 10 seconds of the first half. Into the corner to Jones. Inside to Orphis. Orphis gets that leader to fall, and that'll end the first half with North Bergen taking a 2-point advantage with them into the halftime locker room. Sean Orphis leading all scorers with 11 points in the game. 28-26, North Bergen leading as you're watching the championship final of the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Basketball Tournament here exclusively on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, inside East Gym here at Fort Lee as we're moments away from the resumption of play in the start of the second half of the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Championship Final. North Bergen leads Fort Lee by a bucket, 28-26. Taking a look at the stats from the first half of play, Sean Orphis leads all scorers with a game-high 11. Cesar Perez chipped in 7, Elijah Dupo with 6, Jonathan Jones with 3, and Jake Still with 1. The scorers for Fort Lee, they're led by Devin Jang and Isaiah Stang with 8 points apiece. Kamani Clark with 4, Ben Ogadegbe with 3, and Isaiah Valdez also with 3. North Bergen turns it away to start off the second half. They're in the red and gold. In the home white, orange, and black is Fort Lee. Here's Isaiah Stang trying to go coast to coast with it. Got his defender up in the air. Here's a 3 from Ogadegbe. No good. Clark trying to wrestle away the rebound, but it goes into the hands of Perez. Leaking out the other way is Jones for the layup as he beat Fort Lee down the floor. No floor spacing that time. And that time it leads to Jonathan Jones for his 5th point of the game. Jones started off the game with a 3-pointer that gave the Bruins the lead. 30-26. Now the advantage for the Bruins. Fort Lee led early, but it's really been all North Bergen since. Fort Lee fought back to tie it up late in the half before Orphis had a nice shot to finish off the first half and give the Bruins a 2-point lead into the locker room. Valdez getting the start to the second half. He's on the floor with Ogadegbe, Stang, Jang, and Clark. Valdez on the far side, up top to Ogadegbe. He's averaging 15 points a game in this tournament, only held to 3 in the first half. Stang gets his pocket pick. Goes dribbling all the way down to the far side, though. Here's Ogadegbe, start and stop. Muscles his way inside, pulls up for the jumper, too strong. Clark inside, tries the putback. Orphis then with a two-handed strong rebound. Missed opportunity there for points for Fort Lee to start off the second half. 30-26 lead for North Bergen. Jones up top to Still. Dupo. The long-range shooter, Dupo, had 2 made threes in the first half. Orphis again carved his notch inside, and that's going to be a foul against Valdez. He was trying to say he went straight up, but Sean Orphis was leaking out inside. Only needs a little slimmer of light so that he could carve out some space in the interior. Sean Orphis, a senior, again coming off a 18-point performance in the win against Riverdale. Had 23 in the first game against Clifton. And now he's up to 12 points in this championship final. Last game of 2022 for both teams. They'll get in the heart of league play starting after the new year. Orphis is 4 for 4 at the line. He's up to 13 points, and now the lead has grown back to 6. 32-26. North Bergen with the first 4 points of the second half. Daniel Park into the game. Up top to Ogadegbe. How can they get Bem Ogadegbe going? He's a slasher. He's also a facilitator. Even if he's not scoring, you could draw a couple of defenders to him and lead to better openings for his teammates. Jang doing a lot of work off the dribble, getting it to Clark down low, rejected against the glass by Orphis. Now trying to find Orphis the other way, and he missed the layup on one side. Cleaning up on the other side, Orphis again, and once again, it's Sean Orphis taking control in this one. 15 points on the night. And North Bergen starting to flex their muscles here. The lead has grown to 8. A 6-0 start to start off this third quarter. North Bergen on top of Fort Lee, 34-26. We'll take the timeout as it's on the floor as you're watching the Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Championship Final here on YouTube. So Coach Adam Schrager taking the timeout for Fort Lee. He's sensing this might be a little bit of a danger zone. A push here for North Bergen has the Bruins back in front, this time by 8. It was at one point a 26-26 game near the end of the first half. Orphis chipped in the final 2 points of the first half to give them a 28-26 advantage at the break. And they've started off strongly here to begin the third quarter. It's going to be a reach-in foul against the Bruins after they were trying to double team and trap Daniel Park. First foul committed to the second half for North Bergen. Fort Lee has also committed 1 foul as well. Sean Orphis, 15 points in this championship final. Continues to show off as arguably the best player in this tournament. Now leaving off for Isaiah Stang. Stang tries the floater, too strong in the back iron. Tipped out, though, to Ogadegbe. Stang's got to get going here for Fort Lee. Had a great start to this game. He fumbles the ball away, and that's going to be a reach-in foul against Isaiah. Outstanding on-ball defense there by Jonathan Jones, the junior. Really frustrating Isaiah into that eventual turnover and foul. 34-26. North Bergen with the lead. Nice cut to the rim by Perez off the ball. And the lead is double digits, 36-26. Perez with 9 in the game. How can Fort Lee generate some offense here? Still watching against Jang. Jang has been attacking more off the dribble than usual. And now a foul whistled on the floor against North Bergen. Second team foul. A lot of discussion going on, I think, between the officials and a couple of the players as things are starting to get heated a bit. Trying to make sure everybody's on the same page here and nothing getting out of control. First time that we'll see Jolier Moreno, number 25, come into the game, as Dupo will take a seat. Up top to Clark. Fort Lee yet to score here in the second half. Here's Jang across the middle. Got caught up in the air. Ogadegbe races out of nowhere to get the loose ball. Here's Isaiah Stang. Bounce pass in the near side corner. Park across the lane. He got blocked. It looked like it was a clean block, but they're going to whistle foul against Jones, maybe on the body. Fort Lee benefiting there from that call. Again, looks like a clean block to yours truly, and we're situated right in this near side corner, closest to this end of the floor. And that time, Park's foul shot rolls in and out. So still, Fort Lee is yet to score as we've reached the midway points of the third quarter. 36-26. It was a 28-26 lead for North Bergen at halftime. Second foul shot also not good. Offensive rebound, though, for Clark. Jang with a crossover. Out into the corner. Park rises and fires. Hits the rim a couple of times, then eventually is tipped out of bounds. Last touch off of Orphis. And this long sustained possession for Fort Lee continues. But it has not resulted in any points just yet. 3:46 left to go in the third. 36-26. North Bergen starting to pull away a bit. Now an offensive foul on the inbounds, negating what would have been a rattled home three by Devin Chang. Moving screen. That's going to be the third team foul against Fort Lee in the second half. So both teams have committed 3 fouls apiece. Outside to Jones, now back up top to Still. Fort Lee trying to keep in this game with their defense on this side. But it's tough with the matchups right now going the way of Sean Orphis and company. There's a long-range three by Still, and he brings rain. High-arcing three knocked down by Jake Still. Largest lead of the ball game, 39-26. Park across the middle of the lane. Clark getting it back up top to Park. That shot is blocked away by Jones. Gets his own carom off the rejection. Lays it in for the layup. And the lead swells to 15. What a display of athleticism. Jones not only blocked the shot, caught the carom, and then laid it up and in a much-needed three by Isaiah Stang to stop the bleeding. Brings the lead down to 12, 41-29. Timeout on the floor by Coach Adam Schrager. And Fort Lee with 2:41 left to go in the third quarter. Largest lead of the game just moments ago was 15 for North Bergen. Now, with Isaiah Stang's three, his second made three of the game. And the first points of the second half for Fort Lee. The lead is cut back down to 12. Will that be the spark that Fort Lee has been so desperately looking for to get going here in the start of the second half? We have seen the emotional plays, the big-time shots being put in by North Bergen. Now finally Fort Lee seeing one go through the hoop. They're going to hope that that is what they needed to get going here to start off the third quarter. But they have work to do. 2:41 left to go in the third. 41-29 deficit. North Bergen, a team that averages around 55 points per game this season. Fort Lee on the season has only given up around an average of 47 points per game to opponents. So already around that mark here, still with time left to go in the third. Dupo, head of steam, right at the rim, attacked the defender. Valdez did not go straight up. And Dupo will head to the foul line to shoot a pair. 2:33 left to go in the third as Elijah Dupo with 6 points in the game on two made threes back in the first quarter. Looking for his first point since the first quarter. Fourth team foul against Fort Lee. First foul shot is good for Dupo. 13 points in their opener. A win against Clifton, 22 in the win against Riverdale. He was the leading scorer in that one. Second foul shot also good for Dupo. 8 points on the night now for number one in red and gold. 43-29, North Bergen leads. 2.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter here from East Gymnasium. Fort Lee a perfect 3-0 at home this year, but in danger of suffering their first defeat. Still plenty of time remaining in the second half, but they have to get going here. Jones has been a difference maker. Another steal leads to another transition hoop. And Jonathan Jones, who was scoreless in the first two games of the tournament, now with 9 points this evening. 45-29. Stang trying to take over, and he gets Fort Lee right back in the thick of things. Again, that one a runner off the backboard and in. And Isaiah Stang with 13 in the game. Stang to try to complete the three-point play. He does. 14 points now for Isaiah. Lead is 13. 45-32. 1:45 and counting left to go in the third quarter. North Bergen taking a little time here to run their offense. As Dupo will just dribble it up and see if Fort Lee will come out of their zone look. Ogadegby threatening to come out a little further. See if they're going to go with a zone. So Dupo and North Bergen wasting about 20 seconds on the clock. Still dumping it down low on the block. Orphis, turnaround shot. Really tough shot there. Great defense by Fort Lee. Ensuing rebound out into the hands of Devin Jang. Approaching the final minute of the quarter. Jang thought about the initial three. Kick out into the corner. Lorenzo off the mark. Good contest there by Perez on the closeout. Have to think, and going back to that possession, if you're Coach Schrager, you want Devin Jang pulling the trigger on that shot on top of the arc. Perez across the lane. Ball movement around the perimeter. Open three ball in the corner. Rimmed in and out. Tapped away. Fight for the ensuing loose ball. Everyone getting dirty on the floor. Isaiah Stang trying to come away with it. Could not scoop it up in one fell swoop. Now outlets it to the far side. Lorenzo just missed a three. Trying to force feed that look inside to Clark, who wasn't ready for it. 20 seconds left to go in the quarter. Up top to Perez. Perez missing the layup. Tip and attempt also doesn't fall. Here comes Fort Lee, a little helter-skelter in the open floor. Ogadegbe kick out. Lorenzo lets that defender fly by, looking for an outlet. 5 seconds left. Clark gets his shot, cleanly blocked inside. Here's a half-court heave. Perez just missing to the left side. And that'll end a frantic finish to the third quarter. North Bergen 8 minutes away from hoisting the championship trophy. They lead Fort Lee by a score of 45-32. Stick around as we'll be back for the start of the fourth quarter here on YouTube. What a fun tournament that we've been enjoying throughout the end of December, December 27th, 28th, and 30th. This is the 12th and final game. North Bergen has played an elite level of basketball throughout this tournament. Defensively, they've locked down the likes of Clifton and Riverdale, holding those opponents to under 50 points in each contest. Right now, you'd think that they might be in line to hold Fort Lee under 50 as well. Bridgman only producing 6 points total in that third quarter. They're at 32 for the game. Fort Lee's offense has to come alive here if they want to fight their way back here at home. Down 45-32 as we start the fourth quarter. Isaiah Stang, step back jumper. No good, rebounded inside by Orphis. I'm Dan Long. It's been an honor to bring you the sights and sounds throughout the course of these last couple of days here with this holiday event. Working around the perimeter, North Bergen feeding inside, give and go. Jones up and under, blocked from behind by Clark. Stripped away as well. Here comes Ogadegbe in the open floor. Ogadegbe going coast to coast, but he missed the layup. And another rebound by Orphis. Those are the must-have buckets for Coach Schrager's side, especially when they're out in space and out running the floor and not having to contend with the North Bergen half-court defense. Foul whistled on the floor against Fort Lee. That'll be their fifth team foul. 7:13 left to go in regulation. North Bergen is led by as many as 16 in this game. Fort Lee led very early in the first, but North Bergen took control early. There's Orphis knocking down the triple, showing off how good his game is. 18 points on the night now for number 15 in red and gold. Jang from 15, no good. Clark can't get to it. Here comes North Bergen. They're starting to pull away here in this game. There's Perez. 11 points now for number 3. And it's the largest lead of the night at 18, 50-32. (50-32), the margin here for North Bergen, a team that's trying to go to 7-1 on the season and capture this holiday tournament championship here on the road in Fort Lee. Trying to snap Fort Lee's 2-game win streak on the season as well. Lorenzo left the ball behind, does recover it. Lorenzo with kind of the deer in the headlights look right now. Gets fouled as he was trying to dribble it across the lane. These are the type of games that you hope that will pay off later on down the road when it comes time for the playoffs, and also just giving game experience in front of a big crowd and against a very tall and athletic opponent as well. Maybe your young players start to experience that and know what they have to do to get prepared for other big-time games. Fort Lee trying to lean on their seniors here, as that time it was Isaiah Stang trying to body up against Alex Astudillo. That'll be a foul against North Bergen, 6 for the Bruins. So now one more gives Fort Lee a chance here, heading into a single bonus situation. Jang off the screen, fires the 3, and it falls. Devin Jang with his second made 3 of the game. He's up to 11. And now it's going to be a reach-in foul against the Bridgemen. And for Fort Lee, that will be their 6th-team foul. So neither team with any more fouls to give. And still 6 minutes left to go in regulation. As we've seen with a couple of games here today, it might be a lot of foul shots on the horizon as we're getting ready here for the inbound. Jake Still will inbound the basketball. Get it up top. Orphis lost control there. Fight for the loose ball. Loose on the deck. That's going to be a travel against Fort Lee. Orphis is the leading scorer for all players in this game. 18 points for the senior. Leading scorer for Fort Lee is Isaiah Stang with 14. There'll be a timeout taken. 6 minutes exactly remaining here in regulation. North Bergen starting to pull away here, 50-35 on top of Fort Lee on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. (50-35), the deficit facing Fort Lee. Fort Lee trailed in their games against Passaic and Memorial, but then were able to kind of just rely on their defense to shut down the opponents. They held Passaic to 49 points, Memorial to 42. They have not had an answer for North Bergen when North Bergen has been able to get their offense going, and many times today we've also seen North Bergen's defense lead to easy transition buckets. Namely, Jonathan Jones has been a revelation here today. Had a no-show in the first 2 games of the tournament. He came to play in this championship final, and coming to play as well as Elijah Dupo. Dupo gets fouled in the act of shooting. Not only will that be a bonus situation, but it's in the act of shooting, so 2 shots for number 1. This North Bergen team can make a little noise this season in Hudson County. 2-1 in divisional play already as divisional play started. As Dupo will rattle in. First foul shot, get up to 9 points in this game. That American division is a gauntlet. Snyder, Hudson Catholic, St. Peter's Prep, Union City, Bayonne, North Bergen, Memorial, Dickinson, and Lincoln. 2 of the top non-public powers in that matchup and in that field. That is a league that St. Peter's Prep claimed as their own a season ago. St. Peter's Prep, Hudson Catholic, 2 top 20 ranked teams in the state. 52-35. Stang pushing it up. Got it deflected into the hands of Lorenzo to the far side. Ogadegbe hangs in the air and does a great job of maneuvering through that stationary defender. As Ogadegbe now up to 5 points in the game. Trying a response of his own was Moreno. That's not his game. Ogadegbe with the bounce pass. Lorenzo denied once again. That time Orphis was looming and lurking and knew and timed it perfectly. Best player in the tournament by far. Ogadegbe will do the inbounding. Time running out here for Fort Lee. Just over 5 minutes left. Jang again off the dribble. Seen more of that than we've seen all season long. Kevin Jang with 11 points in this game. Off balance, wild shot. It looks like a foul first whistled on the floor before the active shooting, but it's a bonus situation, so it's 1-1 upcoming for Sean Orphis. He has a chance if he knocks down both foul shots to get to 20 points on the night. That'd be his second 20-point performance in this tournament. Orphis knocks down the front end of the 1-1. He's a perfect 5 for 5 at the line here tonight. Orphis up to 20. 6 for 6. He's doing it in all phases of the game. A scorer, rebounder, shot blocker. He's a game disruptor. 54-37, 17-point lead for North Bergen. Stang with a high dribble. Ogadegbe slashing on the baseline. Back out top to Stang. Stang for 3. Isaiah Stang with his third, made 3 of the game. He's got 17. Trying to will his team back in this one. The pressure works perfectly there for Fort Lee. Corner, Lorenzo, high arcing 3. Overshot the rim and over the back against Ogadegbe. Ogadegbe went over the back on that foul. Now it's going to be a 1-1 the other side for Still in North Bergen. 4:36 remaining in regulation, 54-40. Fort Lee really needed to get that 3 in the corner by Lorenzo. That would have really pushed this into a fever pitch inside East Gym. Still missing on the foul shot. Lead remains 14. Ogadegbe contested at the rim. Clean disruption. Jones not knowing that Ogadegbe was coming from behind, and then quickly a timeout granted to Coach Kevin Bianco as North Bergen will take the timeout. 4:22 left to go here in regulation, and North Bergen closing in on a potential team championship here inside Fort Lee's home gym. Out of the timeout, 4:22 left to go in regulation. As North Bergen trying to salt away this victory, 54-40. Does Fort Lee have one final run in them? Try to make this one closer and in doubt. Tupou in the corner. Here's a high arcing three, short. And Kamani Clark breaking out with a rebound. Fort Lee's got to get it done here offensively. Here's Devin Jang. Jang over to Ogadegbe. Ogadegbe held to 5 points in this game. Hangs in the air and gets fouled on his way up. And Ogadegbe will head to the foul line now to shoot two. Ogadegbe had 13 points in the first game against Passaic. Then he had 17 points and was such a clutch foul shooter. 9 of 11 at the line against Memorial. He closed out the game single-handedly. Just like he's doing right there as Ogadegbe swishing home that first made foul shot. She's got 6. Ogadegbe missing on the second opportunity. Can't leave any points off the board if you're Fort Lee. 54-41, full court pressure by the Bridgemen. As they work it around the perimeter now for North Bergen on offense. Time is on their side. Pass around as Fort Lee trying to extend their defense a little further out on the perimeter. Perez getting bodied up. Now it's going to be a foul against Ogadegbe. Stopping the clock with 3.5 minutes left. Double bonus time for North Bergen. 2 shots the rest of the way. First foul shot is knocked in by Cesar Perez. 12 points in this game for the senior. So you're seeing the three-headed monster, Orphis, Perez, Dupo. The big contributor also to that mix was Jonathan Jones. That is a balanced scoring approach. Perez going 2 for 2 at the line. 13 points in the game. Should be 3:30 on the clock as I think they had some time that was running off accidentally on the scoreboard. They get that fixed. They put back the necessary 3:30. (56-41). Lorenzo dropping it off for Ogadegbe. Spinning around. Here's Lorenzo for 3. Got it! Big shot there for Jose Lorenzo. He's had a couple swatted away and missed one, and that's a nice bounce back effort there by the junior guard. He's in the game to be a 3-point specialist. Lorenzo had a season high 9 points on 3 made threes in a win here against Mahwah. Now pulls Fort Lee back to within 12 at 56-44 with 3:10 remaining here in the fourth quarter. So Lorenzo on the board here in the fourth quarter as Fort Lee trying to make their comeback against the Bruins. After the new year, North Bergen will be back home for a couple of games in a row. They'll take on Snyder, Hoboken, and Middletown South on January 3rd, 5th, and 7th. Fort Lee, after the new year, will be here hosting against Dumont on January 3rd. All fans can watch that game live and on demand for free here on the Fort Lee Athletic YouTube channel. Before then, Fort Lee will travel to Ridgefield Park before coming back home here on January 7th. Home run pass. Look at that touch on the pass as well as Dupo goes up, misses the layup, fouled up by Perez. He also missed it. But Sean Orphis showing off that maybe he's got a little quarterback in him as well. And now the call will go against North Bergen, as that's going to be a push underneath against the Bruins. The dismay of Kevin Bianco. And that will be a foul. Will also help Fort Lee out. It will stop the clock and send Ogadegbe down, shooting 1-1 the other way. Ogadegbe swishes home that first foul shot. Bem is now 2 of 3 from the line in this championship final. And Fort Lee came up as runners-up last year, losing to Kennedy 48-37. Ogadegbe, though, can't complete the 2 points there. It was 1 of 2. Stang deflected it, but into the hands of Jones. Here's Dupo the other way. Gets it over to Orphis. North Bergen just trying to pull it out, run a little clock here with under 3 minutes left to go. Lead is down to 11, 56-45. Led by as many as 18 in this one. Dupo. Perez. Watched by Ogadegbe. Fort Lee have to find a way to trap here. Get the hands out of Dupo. On the side, here's Jones. Missed the layup. Exactly what Fort Lee was looking for. Here's Ogadegbe in the open floor. Cuts underneath the defensive still. And here comes Fort Lee, not quitting. 56-47 left to go. And do we have another clock issue here? As the officials are talking to one another. Don't know what the stoppage is right now. It might be an injury to one of the Fort Lee players that they're trying to stop and have an opportunity for a sub. Again, we haven't had any clarification. Ogadegbe had the layup. He's now up to 9 points in the game. 2:12 remaining, and right now there's a stoppage. Lead is down to single digits, 56-47. North Bergen trying to salt this one away, cross the finish line, and win the tournament championship. Fort Lee is clawing its way back, inching closer and closer. They need some turnovers, though. Jones getting pressured and getting fouled on that play. Ogadegbe picking up the personal foul. And it looks like that might have been the 5th personal foul against Bem Ogadegbe, so Ogadegbe will foul out of this game. 9 points on the evening for the senior from Fort Lee High School. Again, it'll be 2 shots the rest of the way for North Bergen, so the Bruins just simply hit their foul shots. They will be crowned the champions of this event with 2:07 left to go in regulation. Jones to the foul line. Jonathan Jones, the junior, 9 points on the night. Did a great job defensively against Ogadegbe, making him a relative non-factor until late here in the 4th quarter. Jones will roll that one in. Fourth different Bruin player to be in double figures. Jones goes 1 of 2, but Perez cleans it up on the ensuing miss, and that might be the final touch that North Bergen needed. 15 points now for Perez. Lead back to 12, 59-47. Stang put back 3, no good. Jones skying high for the rebound. A sizable North Bergen crowd made the trip here for 3 games in this tournament, and they're starting to celebrate here. They're sensing that North Bergen on their way to a championship. And a 7-1 start to the season as well. This team has what you look for in a successful side. They have length, they have athleticism, they have senior veteran leadership and experience. As Jones will miss on the foul shot. Strong point guard play. A leader in Orphis down low, who can also be athletic and play also in the wing positions, not just be a center. As Jones will roll that one in. 11 points now for number 23. After, again, not scoring in the first 2 games of this tournament. 13-point lead, 60-47. Stang, stepping back, almost banked it in. Jang will wrestle home the offensive rebound. Jang from deep, and he gets it. Devin Jang has had a very strong last 2 games of this tournament. 3 3-pointers tonight, 4 in the last game. Devin Jang up to 14 points. Fort Lee forced to foul, 60-50. Now, obviously, if you're Fort Lee, you don't want to be runners-up again. And you hope that this will pay off down the road. Preparing yourself for that big North American Division gauntlet of games that begins on January 3rd. They'll be back home here at home against the Dumont Huskies on January 3rd. As Perez knocks in the foul shot, he's up to 16 points on the night. At 9 points against Clifton, 11 more against Riverdale. Riverdale could not get any semblance of offense against this North Bergen defense. Fort Lee is only the 3rd team this year to get 50 or more points against this Bruin defense. Looks like it won't be enough, though. Stang fires that one, but Orphis deflects it out of bounds, trying to save it, and doing so was Kamani Clark. 1 minute remaining in regulation. Jang getting it over to Stang. Crosses over across the lane. Nice Euro step and the finish. Isaiah Stang with 19 points. He's the leading scorer for the Bridgemen. Now letting it down the near side. Here's Perez. Perez is filling up the offensive stat sheet here. A blocking foul and an and one for Perez. He's up to 18 with a chance to make it 19 if he completes the three-point play. Cesar Perez has been the closer for the Bruins here. Anytime that Fort Lee trying to get a couple of offensive possessions, back-to-back scores, it's been Perez on the other end. Tip-ins, hustle plays, and foul shooting. 4 for 4 at the line here in the fourth quarter. 64-52. Valiant effort. It's going to come up short here for Fort Lee as Jang gets it blocked away. That might be the cherry on top as Perez trying to dive after it. Park secures the loose ball, but another block on the night for Orphis. And Isaiah Stang got to the rim. It was blocked just before, so no goaltending. Devin Jang steals it away. Jang up and over Orphis. Devin Jang now with 16 points. 8 seconds left, and the celebration is about to commence. 64-54. North Bergen will be crowned the 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Team Champions as they defeat the Bridgemen of Fort Lee 64-54. Fort Lee just played their hearts out there at the end to try to pull closer. North Bergen always had the answer when called upon. What a night. Sean Orphis, 20 points. Cesar Perez, 19 points. Elijah Dupo, 10. Jonathan Jones, 11. 4 different players in double figures, while Fort Lee led by Isaiah Stang, 19. Devin Jang, 16. Bem Ogadegbe with 9. What a performance again by North Bergen. 3-0 in this tournament. Champions of this event this year. Last year it was Kennedy that just had too many answers for Fort Lee. This year, the same for the Bruins, who go to 7-1 on the season. Fort Lee will fall to 5-2. Runners up again this season in this holiday tournament. And now they will have their sights set on defending their big North American Division title from a season ago, as their next game will be back here against Dumont. We'll have the trophy presentation coming up for both sides as they'll announce the tournament runners-up as well as the champions, as well as the most valuable player award coming up momentarily. We'll stay here on the broadcast for that entire presentation ceremony. So that's coming up momentarily here inside East Gymnasium. Again, if you're just joining us, North Bergen outlasting Fort Lee by a score of 64-54.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now we will be announcing members from both teams. The all-tournament selection. First for Fort Lee, the all-tournament selected player is number 25, Isaiah Stang. And the all-tournament selection for North Bergen is Cesar Perez. This year's runners-up for the holiday tournament, the Fort Lee Bridgemen. The Most Valuable Player Award goes to North Bergen's Sean Orphis. And your 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament Team Champions, the North Bergen Bruins. Thank you to everyone who came and attended these games and supported all the student athletes from all the different schools, as well as those who tuned in and watched the broadcast. Thank you for your support, and a Happy New Year to everyone here, and please drive home safely. Happy New Year, Renee.
So again, that'll do it for our broadcast coverage. 12 games in the last couple of days. It's been another fun affair. Congratulations to North Bergen High School, your 2022 Jack Reilly Holiday Tournament champions. All tournament selections for Isaiah Stang and Cesar Perez. And then the MVP, rightly so, to Sean Orphis. He had 20 points to lead the Bruins to the team title. A reminder, fans, that you can join us for our next Fort Lee boys basketball broadcast. That'll come up on January 3rd as the Bridgemen will play host to the Dumont Huskies. So for everybody here from Fort Lee High School, we'd like to thank Athletic Director Mike Raftery, thank Renee Matisich, Andrew Park, Jordan Sarnoff, who have been our 3 camera operators. Obviously, this all could not be done without the efforts of our exquisite producer, Dimitri Nanis. I'm Dan Long saying so long, and we'll see you next year for the Jack Reilly Holiday Basketball Tournament here at Fort Lee. Happy New Year, everybody.